afternoon, South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. We hope you had an awesome weekend. We did too. How are you?
I had such a good weekend that, in fact, I was feeling a little bit puffy today that I wanted to wear the same outfit that Ricky Rick wore to the Psalmist.
What did you think of these outfits?
Well, I loved Chu, the designer, so, I mean, but
you're already
progressive.
A fan. Yeah, I think it's brave, and it's nice to push it on the red carpet. Yeah.
Whenever I wear something on the red carpet, please don't say it's brave.
The biggest news from this past weekend has to be the 24th Annual South African Music Awards, which took place at Sun City. One of the surprises of the night was the appearance of President Cyril Ramaphosa, who opened the ceremony and presented the Lifetime Achievement Awards. Imagine receiving your SAMA award directly from the president.
The man is woke, what can I say? One of the big winners of the night, Shakina, walked away with 3 awards, including Album of the Year and Female Artist of the Year.
And as you can always expect, at any event, there were some highs and lows in the fashion department. And we've already mentioned Ricky Rick's outfit, which actually then they entered, because you've got to love the internet, they started a Ricky Rick challenge. So when you have a moment, check out those hashtags. It's hilarious.
No, absolutely amazing. Now, as far as high points go, hip-hop artist Rouge walked away with her very first SAMA for Best Music Video. And unfortunately, she was sick and wasn't able to attend, but she definitely deserved it. And then she carried on posting about it with like really amazing outfits like what she would have worn. And so we love you, Rouge. You totally deserved it.
She is amazing. And coming up on the show today, we bring you the inspiring story of Pamela Sithole, how she went from being a part-time domestic worker to an intern doctor through sheer determination and hard work.
Now, it's also another installment of Mommy Mondays on Afternoon Express. So Joanne Strauss is back with us today, and our topic is about diet during pregnancy and the myth of eating for 2. And for any mothers watching at home, we want to know what topics you would like to see us discuss in the future. Let us know on Twitter at Afternoon Chat using the official hashtag Afternoon Express and hashtag Mommy Mondays, or comment on our Facebook page.
Plus, coming up on Thursday, Presenter Search on 3 is back in Joburg for part 2 of the auditions. It's the final stop before they enter the Mentor Masterclass round, where the real fun begins. Here's what you can expect.
Join us this Thursday night at 7:30 with Presenter Search on 3 and more entertainment from the Joburg auditions. DJ Fresh selects 6 lucky hopefuls who receive a VIP audition experience. Plus, it's time for callbacks. Who will impress the main judges and make it through to the Mentor Masterclasses? Catch all the action this Thursday night at 7:30 on SABC3. The stage is yours.
Now, medicine is one of the most revered and most difficult careers to pursue. Just being accepted into the course is no easy achievement. But for Pamela Sithole from the township of Phoenix in Durban, the passion to become a doctor was enough to carry her through against all odds.
Totally. Being raised by a single mom in a family of 4 and having to take up a job as a domestic worker to fund her studies, Pamela finally graduated last month as an intern doctor, and her story has inspired young people around the country. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So let's start all the way at the beginning. So you grew up in Durban. What was your family life like?
Okay, so I grew up in a place called Phoenix in Durban, raised by my mom, and then I'm the youngest of 3 kids. So my brother is 35, Tabani. I have a sister, Lukholo, is 32, and then it's me. Growing up, I would say that I had a good childhood. I would say that it was a happy family until my parents got divorced a few years down the line. But my mom always made sure that we were well taken care of. My siblings also filled in the gaps where they could.
Yeah. I mean, you had to work hard right off the bat to actually just qualify for med school. So you knew that this is what you wanted and you were going to work really hard to get your A's.
Yes. I actually decided when I was 15 that I wanted to do medicine. It wasn't like an off-the-cut decision. You know, you have those kids who decide when they're 7, I want to be a doctor. You know, it was only when I was 15 when I thought, Pam, what is it that best describes you, the person that you are? What is it that won't hold you back in any way to become this great person? And I felt, medicine, here you are.
So you were about this at like the same age, about 15, when you decided that you wanted to become a doctor?
Yes.
And it was around that time that you went with a family friend, I think, to go and help her at a home with Christmas lunch.
Yes. So it was It was a very random thing. A lady called Fiend at Good Hope Ministry Church where I used to attend, she just needed help with washing the dishes for Christmas Eve, where she works in Mount Hitchcombe Estates. So I went with her just to wash the dishes that Christmas Eve. And the next year I went again. The next year I went again. Fiend eventually retired. Val Shirley, my boss, called me to help. And I just established a relationship with the family, and I continued to work until last year, December.
Wow.
Amazing.
I mean, you say something so powerful. You say that humility is as powerful as ambition, or as important as ambition. And what was it about just how you saw doing that kind of work that was so progressive? Because many people don't see it that way. They actually look down on that type of work. How were you able to see it from such an elevated perspective?
You know, for me, with it happening in such a random way, as the years went by, I just realized that it's the same as any other holiday job, you know, because people work in like nice shops in certain structures or malls, you know, just to get their money for university and stuff. And I thought, if I walk to work, if I have lunch at work and I'm still working, I mean, why not continue, you know? And it happened as simply as that. Yeah.
And then how did you structure it? Because you were studying full-time as well. And then, so how often did you work? And then how often were you, because, I mean, studying medicine must have been quite intense.
No, I worked as often as I could and when I was available to work. So I used to call Val and say, Val, I'm done, you know, I'm on holiday now, so you give me a call when you are ready to have me at work and I'll be there, you know. So it never infringed on my studying. It never made me feel like, okay, I'm putting my studies on the side just to go work. No, it was never like that. When it was time to study, I studied and I did well. When it was time to work, I work and I do well there too.
Yeah. Do you have a big friendship circle, or are you just kind of, were you very focused on it's work, study, work, study? Because I can imagine having that conversation with your friends and saying, this is what I'm going to go do now, and what would they say?
I have a huge friendship circle, and they all want me to say shout outs and everything. And for them, it was strange, you know, at first. But I think maybe it was the way in which I carried myself and described it, you know, it just became normal, you know, and I had funny stories to share about Christmas dinner. I had my own experiences of what Christmas meant or what I would see it as when I went to the Shirleys. So it ended up being a very fun thing. It didn't make me look less of a university kid or a primary school kid than the other kids. It didn't make me feel any small.
Yeah.
And I was still very active in university, you know, I did a whole lot of things and I was still Pam.
What were your friends doing as their holiday jobs, in contrast?
People used to work in malls as sales attendants, looking fancy, and there I was in my overall.
Yeah. And what would you say are your most valuable lessons learned on the job?
Wow. Number one would be the humility that we've mentioned, you know, because it looked, I think in retrospect, it looked easy for me to do it because I started at such a young age, you know. So being 14 till 24, doing the same job, then you finally qualify as a doctor and you're like, whoa, okay, you know. But humility was the biggest lesson that I learned. Yeah. I think also a lesson in knowing people and knowing how to interact with different groups of people, which applies even now. I'm a doctor right now. I have this title, but my patients who are, whoever they are, from whichever background they come from, they can still relate to me and I can relate to them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to hear more about what it's like being a doctor and your journey getting there.
Exactly. We'll be back with more from Pamela after the break. Plus, coming up later on the show, it's a meat-free Monday in the kitchen with 2 recipes.
Exactly. We're making meatless barbecue tacos, and we put a South African spin on an Italian classic, gnocchi with Amasi cheese. One of my best. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. We are joined by our guest, Pamela Sithole, who went from domestic worker to doctor. And now we've dying to find out about that journey. So when did you start at med school? You went to University of KwaZulu-Natal. When did you start at med school?
So I started medical school in 2012. Yes, that was my first year.
And did all the money from being a domestic worker, help you to pay for university, or did...
No, so I was using the National Students Financial Aid Scheme, which paid for my university fees as well as my fees for residence accommodation at university. But the money, and then they would give us 900 rands a month to buy groceries, to buy toiletries. Yeah. And
so you weren't one of the lucky ones who ended up with 14 million
no,
in your account?
That didn't happen. I was hoping for it.
I know, right? But now that you're actually interning and you're doing your practicals, you say the hours are really long. What's
horrible.
It like?
It's horrible. So with being an intern, it's not as glamorous as people think being a doctor is, you know. Yeah. I am basically at the bottom of the food chain. I'm the one who does all the work. I'm not the one who makes the big decisions, who needs to get a Caesar, who needs to go to theatre right now. So basically, on a call, I can work anything from 24 to 30 hours.
So is the minimum 24 hours? The minimum
being 24 hours.
And then where are you in the hospital?
So
like emergency room or baby room?
You're all over the place, actually. Really? But basically with admissions, you're seeing the patients as they come in acutely.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you say that there's a lot of doctors graduating in South Africa, but it's not nearly enough to actually meet the need. And on top of it, I was reading an article recently about the brain drain in those fears of medical personnel moving to other countries because the grass looks green on the other side. How do you think this can be broached?
You know, it's a difficult thing because there are measures in place to create more manpower. There are other training programs outside of the country to create more doctors. But seemingly enough, I think it's an issue more of leadership within the government itself. I think it's an issue of us as doctors within the government sector not being taken care of within our field of work. Because if you are expecting a person to work for 24 to 30 hours, what do you think happens to them emotionally? What do you think happens to their family life? But nobody's asking those questions. Nobody's addressing all of those problems. So our alternative route is then to say, I quit. I'm out of this, even from internship, you know. And people leave internship, they choose a completely new field altogether because that grass is greener, you know. You go overseas because that grass is greener, you know. People, interns are dying because of fatigue on the roads, post-call. How do you expect a person to drive after that, you know? And people at work, they don't care. As long as you're the intern, you get the work done and you only leave when it's done.
And then what are the conditions like at work, actually? Because obviously you're in a government hospital now. That's also not, you know, emotionally, that must be incredibly draining as well.
It's not the best, you know. It's absolutely horrible, you know. But I think we have grown from it. We haven't reached the level where we should be, though, in terms of the growth that we need as a nation in our hospitals. But I think there are efforts being made there. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself going in the near future when you're done with your internship? Do you see yourself having a private practice, or are you quite comfortable in the public space?
You know, it's a long road from there. But
and anything could change.
Anything could change, and I've got like at least another 4 years before I can eventually choose what is it that I want to become. But I like dermatology.
Well, you got a distinction in dermatology. Congratulations.
Thank you. I like dermatology. But my first love is internal medicine. It's a lot of work. And now that I'm actually like at work in the field working the hours doesn't look so pretty, but that's what I'd like to do.
Well, I think there's lots of money in dermatology. I mean, I would follow the dollars, but I mean, that's just me.
That's just Judy.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
On everything and all your hard work. What a really
We're
great
so
story.
proud of you. And I'm sure your family is, and your other family.
They're so proud. And I say hi to all of them.
And to all the friends who wanted shout-outs. There's your shout-outs. Coming up after the break, it's Meat-Free Monday in the kitchen as Chef Clem puts together a Mexican treat without the meat. Barbecue, I was going to say BBQ.
Beer tacos.
Barbecue tacos with a homemade slaw. Wow. Welcome back to Afternoon Express this glorious Monday. Now, corn are back, and for a very good reason, because June the 11th until the 18th is World Meat-Free Week, and we want to challenge our viewers, all of you at home, to go meat-free for that week. Do you think you can do it? You're going to need some foodie inspiration, though, and to help with that is Chef Clem, who will be preparing some corn barbecue tacos. How is this meat-free? Because that looks pretty much like meat to me.
It really does look like meat.
How's that for poetry?
It looks like meat. It tastes like meat. It's crazy. So I'm going to teach you how I got this all together.
Please do.
So I'm going to use the corn vegan pieces.
Yeah.
There's quite a few selection in there. You get the chicken pieces, you get the mince. The meatballs are my favorite, absolutely.
I have these at home. Remember, I phoned you and I was like, in which section of that am I going to get them in? So I do have them at home. They are in my freezer. All right. What are they actually, what's in the corn? Is it soya? Let's see what's in there.
The meat one won't have any soy in there, so it's actually
amazing.
It actually grows. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's pretty good for you. It's really delicious and high in protein, which is the most important thing.
Amazing.
So you are kind of like getting rid of the meat and you're going for an option, and luckily corn has that protein in there. Yeah. So now next week, meat-free week.
Yes.
It's really great because you know what carbon footprints are?
Absolutely.
I'm learning about them like so much every day. So carbon footprints are basically if you go into store and you buy a product off the shelf, let's just say it's a chicken, for instance. The carbon footprint is basically how much machinery, transportation, basically all the energy used from the time it left the farm until it got to your home. That's the carbon footprint. Check the scary fact. If a family of 4 went meat-free for 1 meal, the carbon footprint equivalent is to a bus traveling for 83 kilometers.
Wow.
1 meal. So for a whole week, can you imagine the difference it'll make? It's pretty scary.
I'm so pleased to hear all this because I've been meat-free for over a year now, which means I've basically in my own little way saved the world.
You really are. Okay, so the pieces are in there.
We've thrown our corn into there.
First thing, can you smell that?
Yeah.
It smells like you're cooking meat.
Exactly.
In a really good way. Now we're going to start adding that barbecue flavor to it. So in goes some smoky barbecue sauce. And we're going to glaze this like we did with like any like type of barbecue meat.
Nice.
You can get that sizzle happening.
So good.
There we go. And I want some more heat in there, so I'm going for some chipotle chili sauce.
Yes.
Yes. There's a bit of vinegar
love
in
that
there as well.
chipotle.
Chipotle on everything. Okay?
I didn't know how to pronounce chipotle for the longest time, and I kept on calling it chipotle.
Chipotle. It's chipotle. Okay, cool. There we go. That's all in there. Now, what I want to do, let that sizzle for a second, and while it's doing that, let's build our tacos. So, you can have a spoon. I'll have a spoon. So we're going to go in with some nice slaw, and that's just some carrots and some cabbage.
Can I build it with my fingers? I feel like, because I really enjoy eating with my fingers, and I really enjoy preparing things with my fingers, and for some reason, whenever you eat it with your hands, it seems to taste better for some reason.
I agree. Okay,
All
now,
right, so there's my slaw.
I'm going to put some of my corn pieces on. I'm going to give you some.
Is it ready already?
It's ready. Oh, another great thing is you can cook this from frozen. So.
And finished in such a short space of time.
You in? You done?
Amazing. Okay.
Cool. Now, spring onion.
I love spring onion.
And we don't have any queso fresco, but we're going to use some feta. You also get vegan cheese, which is really great.
Yeah, I've got it at home. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's actually really delicious.
Okay. Are you happy? Are you loving this?
I'm happy. And then can I
Here
sprinkle
comes the important
queso?
part, right? How do you eat this?
Yeah, this is now interesting because I always have to have a plate underneath me for the mess.
All right, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. The thing is, a lot of times what people do is they actually take their taco.
Are you going to teach me how to eat a taco?
I'm going to teach you how to take a taco. But you know what? I feel like we need some background music for this. Okay? Because you need to approach this as you would approach your lover. All right? So I'm imagining my girlfriend Megan right now, right? And you got who are you imagining?
I'm finished for
you.
you.
Who are you imagining? Okay,
I'm picturing Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, cool, there we go. Now, what do you think? You nestle your hands around Matthew, me, Megan.
Yeah.
And you're not going to go and tilt Matthew's head, right? You just don't do that. That's rude.
I tilt my head.
You tilt your head.
Like a kiss.
Like a kiss. So you turn, all right? So leave the taco, you do the tilting, and you go in. Okay, mine's a little less extra than that, but that's a trick.
Matthew enjoyed that.
Don't ever tilt your taco, you tilt towards the taco. How good's that?
I would tilt and lunge for this taco any day.
How cool is that?
Matthew McConaughey never tasted so good. Thank you so much. Thank you for teaching me how to eat a taco. Now this looks absolutely amazing and more, and it's so good. And of course it's food with a conscience, with sustainability in mind. Now to get this recipe sent to your phone, simply SMS CORN, that's QOURN, to 33650. SMSs are R1.50 each and no free SMSs apply. And if you missed any important steps, here's a quick recap.
Lots of naughty fun being had in the kitchen. After the break, we're back in the kitchen with some more meat-free Monday inspiration. And this time, we're putting a South African spin on an old Italian classic, gnocchi with Amasi cheese. Plus, we're joined once again by Joanne Strauss for another edition of Mommy Mondays. We want to know what topics relating to new moms you'd like to unpack in the future. So let us know on Twitter at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express and hashtag Mommy Mondays, or comment on our Facebook page. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, we've been hearing a lot about these whistling chefs on social media over the past few days, where the hashtag whistling chef was trending.
They were spotted wandering around Melrose Arch, Cape Town, all over Durban and the Zone in Rosebank. They seem to have been everywhere.
Everywhere. And now here's a clip with them spotted at the Zone in Rosebank.
Oh my God, what's happening?
What's going on?
Do you know what's going on?
No, like, but it looks cool though.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not gonna lie.
What are they doing?
I have no idea.
Oh my goodness. What? Oh my goodness.
What's going on?
Oh wow.
Here they were wandering around Cape Town, and apparently they were spotted in Camps Bay waterfront, the promenade, the Castle of Good Hope. And the tune's quite catchy, actually.
Whoa, look at the chefs. I wonder why they're whistling and marching here. They look nice. They look so cool.
Jeez, that's a lot of whistling, a lot of sore cheeks. Well, that certainly looks interesting, and I wonder what it's all about. Do you have any clue what it's about?
I have no idea. Now, rumour has it that it's something big happening at Melrose Arch tomorrow at around midday. So if you are in the area, you should definitely pop by. You might be in for a big surprise.
Clover Amasi is a thick, creamy mass your family will love. Made with love by Clover.
Now, the creamy, rich taste of clover Amasi makes it ideal to add to almost any dish in cooking and baking. Now, today we are taking a local spin on an Italian classic with our very own Amasi cheese gnocchi with umfino pesto. Now, you simply have to try this at home, and to do that, all you need to do is SMS Clover to 33650 to get this recipe. And I've got Chef Lukholo here to teach me how. How are you?
Hi, very well, thanks you.
Wonderful. Now, please do let me know your African spin on this delicious Italian dish. I mean, in African-Italian, that is like the meanest combo in the world. That's basically exactly what I aim to find in my life.
Wonderful. So we've got our Amasi cream cheese here, and you're probably wondering how did we get to Amasi cream cheese? I mean, we've got some Amasi cream cheese right in front of me right now. Okay. And how do I get to that? Yeah. All you need is a bowl, and you just need to use it and strain it in a colander. And then there you have it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
easy.
So what I'm
Not
going
so
to
difficult at all.
So what I'm going to show you now is how to actually make our gnocchi, which is an Italian dumpling. Yeah. Okay. But now we're going to make our little African dumpling.
Okay, perfect. Okay. How do we do that?
Okay, so in a bowl I've got my cream cheese here. All I'm going to do is add some flour. Okay. And some Parmesan cheese, 1 egg. Yeah. And I'm going to let you mix that in for me.
With pleasure.
Okay, so all you need to do is just mix that.
Yummy. Oh, is that to actually make the gnocchi?
That's to make the gnocchi. Okay. So what you actually need is a dough consistency.
Okay. Well, then you're going to have to give me a while. But also, it's going to be really nice and proper fresh pasta, because I don't think Amasi's got any preservatives in it.
Not at all.
That's why it was easy to make the cream cheese, I assume.
Okay, so luckily for you, we've already got a dough made here.
Thank you.
So you don't have to carry on with that.
There you go.
Okay, so you can set that aside.
But it does smell really nice. All right, then what?
Okay, next step, we are going to shape our gnocchi. And
well, there you go. That's how the gnocchi can also have an African twist. Your shape must just look like a mapani worm.
Definitely. So we're going to shape our sausages now, and I'm going to give you something to do. Okay. So there we go. Okay, you can just follow as I show you.
Okay. What is this? Flour? It doesn't look like
maize meal.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
Okay, so instead of flour, we've used some maize meal.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to use our fingers and roll our sausages. So you can just pull it apart like that. Okay.
All right.
Then using your fingers, you can then roll it out.
I really don't have any skill in this kitchen when it comes to that. Okay, if I use more maize, will it be easier?
Very easier, right? Okay, I've got 2 forks for us over there.
Okay.
Okay, that's we're going to use to press, but before that we're going to cut our dough into 1 centimeter shapes.
All right.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so you're making mini dumplings.
Okay.
Okay, but we call this our little African dumpling.
Yeah, I love
because
that.
we've got Amasi in it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then using our fork, we're going to press it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. It's starting. Okay, well, mine is not coming out.
Are you winning over there?
No, mine's coming out a little bit too big. But that's fine. Hey, look, that's still cute.
Perfectly fine. Okay.
Yeah, mine will be fat little dumplings.
Okay, so we've got water boiling there. Now,
Okay.
how are you wondering how are we cooking this?
Yeah.
It's similar to pasta, so all you're going to do is just dump this in there.
All right.
Okay, for about 2 minutes, voila. Okay, for 2 minutes, and then you have it. So it's going to start. It's going to start bubbling up, and once it floats to the top, you're ready to go.
Great. And then how do I get it to look like that?
Now, instead of the usual basil pesto, we've used umfino pesto.
Amazing.
And we've used spinach instead of basil.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
we've made our own pesto and used spinach. So all you need
Can
to
I have
do
a little
there,
taste?
Yes, you may. Yes, you may. How's that for a meaty
Oh,
Monday?
that is so good. I actually prefer that to any kind of traditional gnocchi. Thank you so much.
It's an absolute
Delicious.
pleasure.
Well, that's my lunch for today. This makes for a fantastic meat-free Monday dinner as well. So remember to SMS Clover to 33650 to get this recipe sent to you. Here's a quick recap in case you missed any of these steps.
Made with love by Clover.
Mondays are no longer the same in the loft because they've become synonymous with mommies. It's time for another edition of Mommy Mondays here on Afternoon Express. Anyone who's been through a pregnancy will know that when it comes to diet, there are so many conflicting opinions out there between friends, family, and information online. It's easy to get confused or misinformed.
Absolutely. Now, the reality of the matter is that during pregnancy, your eating plan is incredibly important to the health and well-being of both you and your baby. So today, we're dispelling some of the myths. We've called in the expert, supermom and dietitian Emilie in. So lovely to have you in studio. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So besides the fabulous meat-free tacos that Jeannie has us all like really craving right now, what are some of the best things for women like me with a bump to be eating during their pregnancies?
Yes, well, you really want to make sure that your diet is nutrient rich. So you want to eat foods that have an abundance of vitamins and minerals. So plenty of fresh produce, fresh fruits and veggies, lean proteins, healthy plant fats and fatty fish, and then also your unprocessed high fiber carbohydrates.
Right. And how accurate is the idea of eating for two? Should a woman even be thinking along the lines of, oh, I'm eating for two now?
Yeah, great question, Bonnie. You know, I find a lot of pregnant women feel that this is now an opportunity to eat as much as they want.
What do you mean it's not?
Whatever they want. Yeah, the problem with that is they end up overeating and gaining too much weight during their pregnancy. And this then increases their risk of pregnancy-related complications such as gestational diabetes and high blood pressure during pregnancy. So I usually suggest to moms, rather than focusing on restricting your intake or being afraid now of eating, focus on those nutrient-rich foods that I spoke about. So focus on really getting in fantastic, good nutrition. Every time you eat during pregnancy, you have the opportunity to feed your baby the best possible nutrition. And that's just so exciting that you really have this opportunity during this crucial time of growth and development in your child's life to provide them with the best possible nutrition.
My memories of being pregnant, I mean, are that I couldn't help but overeat, because they tell you to avoid the nausea, you've got to keep eating. And
small little meals, small portions.
Exactly. And then you do actually get hungrier, and sometimes your body is craving new types of foods, because I guess it's needing those nutrients. And to get to finally what it is that your body is craving, you actually eat your way through it. I ate my way through it to finally figuring it out.
Yes, it is important to eat those small regular meals, and as you mentioned with the nausea, one of the recommendations is to eat small regular meals throughout the day, because your body needs a lot of nutrients during pregnancy, a lot of vitamins and minerals, and often when you have cravings, your body is looking for nutrients, vitamins and minerals. So that's why I say, rather than starting off with the junk food, if you have a craving, rather than going for the chocolate or the chips, start with the nutrient-rich foods.
Okay, so I want to find out, because my biggest craving throughout my pregnancy has been slap chips. I'm not talking fries, I'm talking slap chips with oil and vinegar. I find myself queuing at the fisheries like 12 o'clock ready for the first...
That was me. Oh. That was me. Fish and chips, actually.
What can one do to sort of like make it a healthier slap chip craving?
Yes, well, you know, if you're craving salty foods, it might be the salt that you're craving if you're having a bit of low blood pressure during pregnancy. So again, small regular meals help you to not have dips in your blood pressure levels and your blood sugar levels. So you want to preempt that craving by feeding your body with a healthy food. But also, if you're craving the salt, you could go for salty food that's a bit healthier, like maybe some popcorn at home that's salted rather than the slap chips.
Wow. And I've heard like absurd cravings that women are having, like some people crave clay or soil or just the absurd ones. And why does the body do that?
So those are cravings for non-food items, and that does happen during pregnancy at times. And that in particular can be a symptom of iron deficiency. So if women do not have enough iron in their diet, they start to crave these foods which are actually rich in iron. Soil and clay is actually rich in iron. But obviously it's not ideal to be eating non-food items. So I would recommend that you speak to your doctor about that and you get the appropriate supplementation and adjust your diet accordingly.
So that's also a good thing to actually take in these supplements, because I know in the first couple of weeks your folic acid, that's very, very important. So there are some things that are kind of non-negotiables when it comes to the first weeks, which are very critical in the development of the baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But what about women who say then, okay, I'm going to eat less, I'm actually going to watch my weight and actually go on a pregnancy diet to make sure that I don't gain too much weight? That can also be dangerous, right?
Yes, absolutely. Pregnancy should be seen as a time of nourishing your body, a time of, not a time of deprivation, not a time of restriction, a time of really nourishing your body with healthy foods. So you don't want to be cutting out on any of your major food groups. You want to be having healthy fats, lean protein, healthy whole food carbohydrates in your diet. Your body needs so many nutrients during pregnancy. It's not a time to cut out. It's a time to eat plenty of healthy foods.
But then what are the things you shouldn't be eating? Because I've been having the craziest craving. All I want is salmon. And preferably for me, I'm craving sushi, even though some people think of sushi as a no-go during pregnancy. What are your opinions on that?
So just the background on that is that during pregnancy, your body is in an immune-compromised state. And that means you're more susceptible to picking up illnesses. And this includes foodborne illnesses, such as listeria, you all would have heard of recently. So you want to really be careful and steer clear of foods that have a high risk of being contaminated with bacteria that can cause these illnesses. Listeria, for example, is very dangerous in pregnant women because it can result in stillbirth or miscarriage. So you do want to be really careful. And the typical foods that are at a high risk of contamination are things like your raw meats, your raw sushi, salmon, soft cheeses, unpasteurized dairy products. So it's best to steer clear, to stay safe. If you are going to eat those foods, make sure that they do come from a very reputable supplier.
Yeah. And a lot of women talk about how there's foods that they can eat to curb the nausea. I mean, some women are lucky to only have nausea from like the first trimester, and others have it throughout their pregnancy.
Yes. Unfortunately for me, I'm one of those. I've got that, and it's called hyperemesis gravidarum. Or HG, but I just tell everybody I've got what Kate Middleton has, because that's kind of what people know it as now. Constant morning sickness for 9 months. Which foods would you recommend?
That is a big challenge. So you really want to stay away from foods that have got a strong odor, curries, things like that, that can just make the nausea worse. And it's going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but the small regular meals, you know, you can only tolerate so much at a time when you're feeling nauseous, but your body still has such high nutritional needs. So it's about kind of getting in little bits that you can tolerate. Also try not to skip meals. Often women with morning sickness particularly obviously hits them in the morning, although it can be all day. They skip
I think
breakfast.
it's the worst sort of term for it, because morning sickness,
all day for some people.
It's all day for some people. And for me, I've got my mornings are my better times.
Yes, and that's what Joanne and I were actually talking before, and Joanne was saying that mornings are actually a good time for her to eat, and I was saying, well, then that's when you want to be eating the nutrient-dense foods and the nutritious foods, because you know they're going to stay in. So that's where you want to get that fresh produce and the lean proteins.
I've heard people say, and is this a myth or not, that because the baby, the body kind of makes the baby the priority while you're pregnant, right? So whatever nutrients it needs for the baby, it draws from your body. And if you don't have enough of that particular nutrient, you develop maybe a condition like, is it true that you need more calcium-rich foods because your teeth get affected?
Yes, that is true. So your baby's body is being made out of all the materials that are coming in from your diet. So, for example, you need calcium to build the bone structure of your baby. And if you're not getting enough calcium in your diet, your body will leach those nutrients from your own bones and your own teeth in order to prioritize the growth of the baby. And then you're going to be compromising your future health and your bone health as well. So you do want to make sure your diet is rich in calcium. You can supplement with calcium if you don't eat dairy products, but you must be getting that calcium in. So that you can maintain your good bone health as well.
And it's also so important, Emilie, I think, in terms of nutrition, to get the right nutrition and to not get or pick up too much weight during your pregnancy. Because for me, I felt, well, I can't gym. I can't go to gym. Just even being inside the gym, I'm feeling claustrophobic. But in terms of actually being able to keep a good, healthy weight after you've given birth, that's important, because you don't have a chance to go to the gym with a newborn.
Yes. So you want to make sure that you're not gaining too much weight during your pregnancy, because that is going to be hard to lose after pregnancy.
And that helps, or I mean, depression also develops from that, because people don't feel that comfortable with themselves. Because your body has changed and now you're carrying extra weight that you didn't really need to pick up.
So I talk about crowding out the unhealthy food, crowding out the unhealthy cravings by lots of nutritious food in your diet. So don't become paranoid, don't become stressed. Time of nourishing your body, not restricting your body, but being sensible and making really nutritious food choices at each meal and snack time.
What are the big no-nos?
Yes, so as we spoke about that immune-compromised state that your body is in, so you want to be aware of the soft cheeses, the deli meats.
So that's the blue cheeses, that's the ones with the living bacteria.
Yes, and so they're going to be at a higher risk of being contaminated with a bacteria that can give you a foodborne illness. So those soft cheeses, deli meats, your sushi you do need to be careful with, your rare steak, undercooked eggs. And also just to touch on alcohol. Alcohol is a neurotoxin and it does cross through the placenta and into the baby's brain. So you do need to obviously avoid alcohol during pregnancy, because this is now a crucial time of development for your baby's brain. So you want to make sure that nothing is hindering that development.
But even medication, I think that's the other thing as well. People forget that the medication, you have to be so cognizant of the fact that your baby's getting a lot of this medication through the placenta. So you can't just be taking your regular painkillers that you would usually take. You've got to take the ones that are very, very safe for your baby. You've got to ask your doctor.
Absolutely.
And any nausea-curbing foods particularly? I know ginger sweets. I used to keep ginger sweets in my bag.
Can help. Or like dry crackers also.
Dry crackers.
Those bland foods that really just get something in, because, you know, often if you've got an empty stomach, you just don't eat, it can make it worse. So you need to get something in, but as plain and simple as possible. Lightly salted plain cracker. That can help, yes.
Can I find out? I've been craving lemons. So I'd literally walk around, I'd peel a lemon and eat a lemon as if it were an orange.
I've heard that's quite a common one. That would be your vitamin C. Yeah, when I was pregnant, it was gnocchi, so also the citrus fruit, and I just want to eat gnocchi. So it's obviously the vitamin C that your body's craving.
So your baby's sending you a message?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're very in tune with what's happening with our bodies, and it's good to respond to those healthy cravings.
I've got a bit of a funny story about post-pregnancy now, breastfeeding. I was craving a lot of wasabi, so I ate wasabi nuts. I'd eat wasabi nuts all day. And I kept wondering why the baby was crying every time I was breastfeeding. It's because he was tasting the wasabi.
Does it make an impact? Does it actually happen?
Diet does affect the flavour of your breast milk.
So that's a hard move, mama.
Exactly. Well, it's a good way to wean your baby off the breastfeeding. Eat those wasabi nuts. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll be back with another edition of Mommy Mondays Mondays next week, and we want to know from you, what topics would you like us to cover? Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express and hashtag Mommy Mondays, or comment on our Facebook page. We'll be back after this.
Clover Amasi is a thick, creamy mass your family will love. Made with love by Clover.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, today's show has been both inspirational and informative. We've dispelled the myths regarding pregnancy and eating for two. Plus, we met recently graduated medical student Pamela Sithole, who shared her story of hard work and persistence against all odds.
If there's any advice that you could give to any student at the moment who's maybe struggling to pay for their tuition and really struggling that balance of, you know, staying focused with their studies and working, what would you say to them, especially considering you've got such a great story?
Wow, there's so much that I could say, you know. First of all, I just want to say people need to work hard, you know. Sometimes we think that or people think that just because you're a doctor, your degree was handed to you on a silver platter. You know?
I don't know if anybody thinks that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never thought that once. Never.
Yeah. Just before somebody operated on me, I didn't think somebody gave them a degree.
I can't even get over the fact that you guys study for that long.
Yeah.
You do.
I'm very grateful that doctors study for that long. So, Pamela, we've actually got your mom on the line. So, Tembi, hi, how are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Very, very well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
What would you like to say to Tembi? I mean, to your daughter.
Pamela.
Oh, I'm so proud of my daughter.
Aww.
What was it like as an observer and as a mother, seeing how hard she was studying for all that time?
It's amazing. I never even expect of such a great Pamela she is.
Oh, that's very cool. And did she hit the books that hard? Did she study that hard?
Yes.
Is she going to be a good doctor one day?
A good job, yeah. She's somebody who's knowing what she wants.
Oh, that's important. That's it, eh? Knowing what you want.
Yeah, I wish it was actually that simple. Getting a doctor's degree. I know what I want, but I'm not a doctor. But that's so sweet, Mama. I'm sure. Anything you'd like to say to your mom?
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry on the show. But anyway, I just want to say, Mom, I love you so much, and thank you for everything that you've done for me, and for Taban in Lukholo, and for everybody else that you've welcomed into our home. I love you so much.
Oh. Thank you very much, Kel. I admire you very much. You're such an amazing girl for me.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Yeah, Kelka, I love you.
Bye-bye, Timmy.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so special.
Sweet. I mean, imagine hearing your mom say, "I admire you." What a beautiful feeling.
I think it's the biggest thing, you know, to hear your parents say that.
It is really beautiful.
That's beautiful.
So what does the future hold for you now? So you're still interning. What are your hours looking like? And then you're going to be specializing soon. So will you still have to intern while you're specializing? And then how long do you specialize for?
So internship will be 2 years. And then after that, I need to do a year of community service.
Oh,
and then...
It's like prison, basically.
It just gets harder and harder.
And then,
we're not discouraging you.
No, it is. It is very hard, and it's very long.
Yeah.
So only after ComServe can I choose which route I want to take. And if I just want to do be a general practitioner, then I continue to stay in a government hospital, open my own practice. And if I want to specialize, then you need to apply for that particular department you want to specialize in and study a further 4 to 5 years.
Oh, it sounds a lot, but if I can tell you, just my opinion on doctors, is that you don't choose to be a doctor. You're born a doctor.
Wow.
Because it is a very, very special thing to do, and it's a privilege to be able to save lives and do the things that you do.
Yeah,
so thank you so much.
And do you send Jeannie any hot doctors' numbers that you have?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know any hot doctors.
I know one. I knew two, but I introduced him to Joanne, and now he's very happily married to her. Join us again tomorrow for the weekly Afternoon Express Cook-Along. Our special guest is actor Motlasi Mafatshe, who is best known for his role as Sechaba Malloy in Isidingo.
Yeah, he's quite alive.
Very cool. Head over to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, to get the recipe and the shopping list. And we will see you tomorrow at 4:30 right here on 3.
Good night.
Good night. Cheers.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Nada. Feel Good production.